weather. Gloomy conditions continue today with the odd spot of drizzle. Some brighter spells for northern Scotland.
Good morning from me, Ella Jones. Might be a bit grey outside, but the music is anything but. Classic FM.
Good morning, everyone. I am on my second beverage of the morning. This is like my supplement concoction. It's got things like L-glutamine, collagen, vitamins like B12 and things like that, all in here because I know at this time of year, because there's not so much sunlight and there's a lot of time spent indoors, you need to make sure that you're getting a lot of like vitamins and things like that. Just for me, my brain to be able to work, I need that. I've definitely realized that. If I've got chia seeds in my teeth, I put chia seeds in here. It helps with balancing out the thickness of the concoction, if that makes sense. So you know, if like water gets a little bit thick, it can be a bit strange. I find adding the chia seeds to the water gives it that like crunchiness that makes it feel a little bit less weird that the water is thicker. Just me? You might have heard this morning, I started the day with my radio. I start the same way every single day. I wake up to the sounds of Classic FM with my Lumi light, and it's not a Lumi light. I call it a Lumi light, but I actually have the Philips Hue one. It's because my original one was a Lumi one, and they kind of do the same thing. And I noticed this morning, obviously, Classic FM is my beloved and I love it so much. But if you didn't hear the weather lady, she very much started off with it being like a gloomy weather day, or continuing on the gloomy weather. And then my beloved Ella Jones was then also talking about the sort of gloomier weather. And I talk about it in my other videos, but you've got to be conscious of these things. And it also got me thinking how different it would be if the weather report, instead of saying that, was saying, we're starting off the day with overcast clouds, but here are some of the things that you can look out for on your travels today. If you're in the countryside, you'll notice that the oak leaves are starting to turn a little bit brown. So that is this and this happening in nature. You might notice that there is an abundance of pheasants. That's because they have been released into the wild or whatever. And just highlight one or two things for people to look out for that might be rather lovely around them, instead of leading us down that path where everything around us is sort of feeding us the same narrative. Now, you can overcome that. I do it all the time. It's just something I'm aware of. And because I'm aware of it, I'm able to counteract it. But I don't think the majority of us are that aware when everyone around us is going, oh gosh, because we haven't seen the sun for, it must be about 2 weeks in the UK at the moment. It's been a very, very thick layer of cloud, and it's been very dark. And that is something that you can still find the beauty in. It is harder if everyone around you is maybe not on the same like mindset as you. And so I just think of all of the things that would be different if we were playing songs that celebrated this type of weather. If we were highlighting the beauty, because there is so much beauty at this time of year. It's just that everybody's told us that it isn't beautiful for so long that we all think that it's not beautiful. We think the bare trees. I talk about this in my book, and I hate to always plug my book, which, by the way, is still at like #2 in many of the charts on Amazon, which I just can't get my head around. I can't get my head around like over a year on. I just can't. But what it does is it makes you aware that the landscape that we often think of as dark and bleak and miserable and all of those things, which I'm so not immune to thinking sometimes. Even now, sometimes I'll start my videos and I'll say, oh my God, it's so miserable outside. And I'm like, Lydia, what are you doing? And so really there's so much going on in nature at the moment. Even the other day we were in Woburn Woods, and all of the squirrels were scurrying around and playing and jumping, and they were making the most fantastic noises, rustling through the leaves. And I thought, I've never heard a squirrel rustle in the leaves before. You certainly don't hear that in summertime. And it was just wonderful. And it's those little things that you have to find the joy in. And so I just hope that, and by the way, this is not me saying that what Classic FM is doing is wrong. It's very much the norm. I just would wonder how life would be if maybe we didn't do so much of that, and maybe we were the people that were going, oh, but this is also beautiful at this time of year. I don't know. You might also have seen my wounds on the back of my neck. They're not wounds at all. This is basically the byproduct of having gua sha done on my neck and my shoulders. I haven't had this done for over a year, and honestly I am kicking myself because I haven't taken a painkiller for my headaches since I had it done. Now, admittedly, we've not gone 24 hours yet, but even last night I went to the pub with Ali, and I had 2 glasses of wine. Usually I would need a painkiller after that. I don't need one. I haven't had one this morning. I haven't had anything. There's definitely like a very, very faintness to it. So I'm really happy that I'm going to be seeing her next week for another appointment. I don't usually have my appointments this close together, but it just so happens that it's worked out this way, and I'm so happy about it because I get to give her the good news that like actually this has alleviated so much of the dull ache in my head. And so that's good. I know that not everyone is into this side of things, but I've definitely been on a bit of like a discovery of things that work for me over the years in terms of like alternative options. And I've learned so much about my body and what it actually needs in this last year. And I'm currently listening to a book called The Spark Within. Is it called The Spark Within? I'll pop a link to it in the description box down below. Basically explaining to me how acupuncture works. And honestly, I don't think I've ever come across a book that first of all has 5-star reviews across the board. It's like 5 out of 5. I really like its pragmatic and non woo approach to it, and it's very, very interesting. I'm learning about fascia at the moment, and it was something that we were talking about a lot last night, and just understanding the roles of parts in your body. And I'm very, very sensitive, so when I have acupuncture I feel like the dull ache in my in my wrists or my feet and things like that. So I talk my acupuncturist through what I'm feeling all the time. I feel like fizzing where the needles go in and things like that. And it's a really interesting experience. And I find it all very, very fascinating. And so if you're interested in that kind of thing, then I'll link the book down below. It's just super, super, it's a lot for my tiny brain, but it is super interesting. I think it's one of those things that sort of gets you thinking, because I had the first inkling a few days ago where I was like, oh, there's something not right with me with regards to this. But I don't want to go to the doctor and just ask for medicine. There's got to be something that my body needs that I'm not giving it. Or I at least need to try that first. And now I'm not ever recommending this in terms of like more serious things. And remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm just a human sharing my human experience with you on the internet in the hope that maybe sometimes you might be inspired or whatever, just as a prerequisite. But that was my first time where I was like, no, what does my body need if it's doing this? What do I need more of if my body is telling me this? It was just a very, very interesting experience for me to go, I'm starting to think of medicine differently. And obviously, I know I've just spoken about my headaches. I did that. I went to the doctors for my headaches and they prescribed me amitriptyline, which is essentially a muscle relaxant, and also I think maybe works for like depression, I don't know. And it screwed me up. I took like one and I could not get up. I was exhausted. It just drained me of everything and I never took it again. I'm still on this quest with my headaches to try and cure them. And I hope one day that I do. I really do. And this is the first time in over a year that I've got a lot, well, even this period of time without taking a headache tablet. So this is huge progress, huge progress for me. And also a really great line of inquiry, because I have been suffering with these for such a long time. Basically, they all started during lockdown or towards the end of lockdown, where everything was very hectic for me online and everyone was very angry and very upset, and rightly so. There was a lot going on in the world and I think a lot of us didn't know how to deal with it. I certainly didn't know how to deal with it. And I found myself at the center of so many different whirlwinds of experiences, and the pressure I remember building up so much that was so physical in my head that I thought that my eyes were going to burst or they were going to pop out of my skull. And that was when the headache started. It was like this build-up of pressure. And so for so long, I've thought to myself, is this it? Did I like bruise or hurt my brain by allowing so much pressure to build up in it? And so much emotion and that kind of thing. Did I like hurt my brain? But when I have moments like this, where I have times when I don't have the headaches and I've had something done that has helped it, it gives me so much hope. So I'm feeling very, very hopeful on this very, very autumnal Saturday morning. I've lit the fire for the dogs. I've been working on an email with some bits and pieces to tick off my list. And what I want to do is get myself up, and I want to start clearing my vegetable garden. I know I've been chatting to you for so long, I feel like this is a big catch up. My veg garden this last year was probably my most heartbreaking year of gardening. I think the weather was at its peak of wetness. I struggled with slugs, I struggled with blight, I struggled with powdery mildew, I struggled with the chickens. There was so many things that just didn't happen. And then I struggled with the watering system that we've got in there because there was so much rain. The beds were almost getting too much water. Being able to monitor that with the amount of rain was super difficult. And it was a heartbreaking year, but luckily I had horse riding that has sort of kept me focused and things like that, and that'll keep me focused through the winter. But I can already feel how fast like January is approaching, and January for me is where I start planning and thinking about what I'm going to do in my garden. And so getting it cleared and ready and sort of prepped for the coming season, I think will be a very, very cathartic experience, to say the least. So that's what I think I'm going to try and do this weekend. Just take it slow. I think my mum might come up and visit me tomorrow for lunch. My riding with Romeo, I feel like I'm really turning a corner with it. I am spending so much more time focusing on getting to understand what feels right, and I can only do that by practicing. And so I'm spending a lot more time in the arena and just going round and round in circles, feeling what it feels like to be on the right diagonal. It's like driving a car. Everything feels overwhelming, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't. And so that's been hugely beneficial this week. I've got another lesson next week. And so it should, hopefully, I feel like I'm putting in the groundwork now that I'm super happy about. So anyway, that's a little bit of my update. It's Porty's birthday tomorrow as well. Porty is going to be 4. Can you believe that my small sausage is going to be 4 years old? Now, he kind of celebrated his birthday last weekend, because Barclay's birthday was last Saturday. And so I don't know if, I think Ali will probably make him some kind of like bacon something to celebrate. Essentially, they both get 2 birthdays, because when it's one of their birthdays, one celebrates, and when it's the other celebrates too, because Ali could never just give one the bacon dish. 4 years of porter. 4 years. How wild is that? We were talking to a gentleman in the pub last night about his dog. He was like, I said I wouldn't get another one. It was an older gentleman in his 70s, and he had lost his dog, Ollie, and had just got a new dog, Lily. That was a bit of a surprise, but it was like, it kept him young, kept him going, kept him moving, and it was really lovely to hear someone talk about them like that, because I think that dogs will always be a part of my life now. What a soppy catch up. Outfit of the day, I am wearing my Holland Cooper trousers. I had these just tailored at the ends just to make them shorter, but they are perfect for putting into boots and wearing with a cozy jumper. I actually like the way the Fair Isle print on this Lily silk jumper connects the boots as well and makes it feel a little bit cohesive. But it's a super comfy outfit. These trousers, despite the fact that they are proper trousers, are so comfortable. This to me is like wearing tracksuit bottoms, but these are a really, really beautiful wool check, which just, it's like a sort of like a Prince of Wales check, I would say. And you can get the full look with these, but you don't have to. I love breaking up a Holland Cooper suit and wearing it just like this, and this colour is a really easy wear as well. So that's what I'm wearing. But I've realised that we're getting into November now, and I remember when I used to wait until the 1st of November to get all of like my Christmas scents and things like that out into the house. I do think that I'm gonna wait until Christmas, until the Christmas trees are up, to play the Christmas music. But I am going to put on something that makes me feel a little bit cozy today. I'm going to have a little bit of a Christmas sort out, start getting myself in the vibes for Christmas, because it is install day next Friday. Well, we have had a very exciting Christmas delivery that I am very excited to share with you. This is my order from Loch Carron of Scotland. And I have to be honest, this was a splurge. What I would say is that if you are thinking of ordering the ribbon, it's very, very expensive. We ordered a good few meters per tree, and it's expensive. So that is something to definitely consider. However, the linens for like the table, because I think my table linens have often been like an afterthought. I don't know why that is, but it's often been an afterthought, and that was not going to happen this Christmas. So, sorry if you can hear my playlist in the background, but I'm listening to the full jazz dinner party playlist. I'll link it down below. But these are my Christmas Day napkins. So, turn my playlist down. So I actually bought 8 of these and I think they look absolutely gorgeous, and I think they look absolutely gorgeous. So these will be the Christmas Day napkins. They're quite small for napkins, I would be honest about that. That is the only thing I'd say, they're quite small. Napkins for me are usually bigger than that. This is what we will be using on Christmas Day, and so many people messaged me to say that this was their school tartan. I too went to a school with a tartan skirt and I hated it at the time. How funny that now I would wear that on a day-to-day basis. Blazer, tartan skirt, who knew? These are the napkins, so I got 8 of these. You can get any tartan you want. So I went for 8 of these. And I also treated myself to the matching tablecloth, so I can do, if I want to, a runner of the tartan and then have the napkins, or I can have the whole table and then do accent napkins, or I can do a different coloured tablecloth and do the napkins. So I've got 3 different looks, which I feel is really versatile. So in the, so this was a bit of a wild card, this one. I think this was going to be the hallway, and I chose this tartan because I believe that this is the tartan that they have on the menus at Inverlochy. And that was the first stop that we went to on our Scottish Highlands road trip earlier in the year. And so that felt quite nostalgic. So I bought this as like it may work somewhere else in the house eventually at Christmas. Each of these are one and a half meters. So it's not a lot. Usually I use about 20 meters on my tree, but we're going to be sparing with the tartan and hopefully complementary with it. So then this, we got 7 of these, so that works out to be about almost like 10 meters, I think. And this will be for the kitchen Christmas tree. We're going burgundy in here, so this will match the tablecloth and linens. So the tree will be nicely tied in, which I think is a good thing. I just liked that tartan because it was burgundy, okay? Because we're a burgundy dish and there's nothing I could do about it. This one is the Gordon tartan, but this is the weathered Gordon tartan. So this I think we will use in the living room, but we have 2 different options, to be honest. So this is, oh, throwing it everywhere. So this is the weathered Gordon tartan, and I thought this would look really nice in the living room. However, I fully appreciate that I tend to just do green on green on green, and I should do an accent colour. So I also got myself the traditional Gordon tartan, so it's called the modern Gordon tartan. So this is quite close to Blackwatch, but it almost has like this yellow accent stripe through it, which this feels different. So this is now my Blackwatch. I know I've loved Blackwatch for many years, but finding the Gordon tartan, being a Gordon myself, Millen Gordon, it felt very good. Then I very ridiculously bought myself cushions, and I bought 4 of them, and I don't know why I bought 4, to be honest. I think I thought maybe this tartan would also work nicely in the living room because it's got the burgundy, so it kind of connects in here, and then I could add in these cushions as well. So we've got lots of different options and lots of different ways to style up the living room, which feels quite nice. And then the final thing in here is the tablecloth. I'm trying not to get everything out, but I'm failing miserably at that because I want to see everything. But I loved these cushions. Now they don't do the cushions in all of the different styles, so this was the only one that fitted with the type of tartan that I was buying. I couldn't get matching cushions for everything else because I would have liked matching cushions for the kitchen. I think that's maybe overkill of the burgundy tartan. So we've got 4 of these, so I could do them on the sofas. And then the final thing, which is probably the biggest splurge past the ribbons, is the tablecloth, because we had this custom made. But it is, and the thing that's super important to me is that this is made in Scotland. okay? It is 100% pure new wool. And just to give you a bit of a backstory, Lochcarron of Scotland's fabrics and accessories are made in the beautiful Scottish borders with a heritage dating back to 1892. We weave the world's largest collection of authentic tartans in a timeless blend of tradition and craftsmanship. We are the world's leading manufacturer of tartan. And that's the kind of thing that I'm making a real conscious effort to support more of in what I'm buying. It's almost borderline becoming an obsession, and it's you know that TikTok that I'm obsessed with this and I'm okay because I'm not hurting anyone, so I'm obsessed with this. I'm obsessed with this. So that is me, my investment in Christmas this year, and we are dead set on having the best Christmas we have ever had. And I'm very much excited. I almost feel like I'm more prepared. Even just having this ready to go so far ahead it makes me feel very, very together. So I can load this back up and keep it here. And then the next thing, I just don't know whether I'm too early to be getting out fragrances yet. I just don't know. I'm going to put this in the laundry room because we need to ensure that we're not getting muddled. Speaking of Christmas, this is one of the newest fragrances to launch at Holland Cooper, and it wasn't here for my last video. But this is their room spray in their winter, they call it Noel. And I would probably say that this is going to be one of the best sort of value for money in terms of getting your winter fragrance, because what I do with this, not only do I use it to like spritz fabrics. Who are you playing with? What are you doing? Barclay's being a show pony. You can use, oh my god, it smells so good. This is Christmas. To me, this is Christmas in a nutshell. And this has a richness, a luxury that other winter fragrances just haven't got. Now, we all know that the White Company kind of kick-started the winter fragrance world, and I love that, but this, and I've always been a White Company girl, but this, it's got that smokiness to it. That's what it is, as if you've got your winter fragrance burning whilst also having the fire lit. Oh. And what I would say with this is you can spritz your fabric, so you can spritz your cushions, spritz your sofas so that when people sit on the sofas they get a waft of the air, but also you can spritz this into, like, you know, the water diffusers. That's what I often do, spritz it into there and then have that going, and it just pumps the fragrance into the world. And when you're wanting to create the most Christmassy atmosphere like I do, you're going to love me for this one. So if you're getting prepped for Christmas, I strongly recommend this because I really want to spray it, but I know that Ali will get mad at me. I'm going to pop it here and pop it in my box of Christmas goodies in preparation for next week. I am actually hilarious. I totally forgot that we've already got a cushion here. Porter, it's not for you, it's just a ribbon. Neither for you. That is the exact same tartan, isn't it? So at least it means that once this is going to be the perfect tartan to go here, because this already looks lovely here, but also we can add a little bit into the living room if we want to with the other cushions. I'm so funny. How did I do that? I remember being at Inverlochy going, oh, this is the same tartan that we've got on a cushion in the hallway. What are you doing? It is not for puppies. Off. Thank you. Ali is just putting the chicken and some veg on in the oven, and we are at the moment trying to sort of get into watching films and get through a few of the classics. As people that enjoy classics as much as we do, it's been something we've been trying to make a point of. We've watched like 2, but we ended up watching, I think I told you about it, Legends of the Fall, which is one of Brad Pitt's like early movies, and it was sensational. Reminded me of A Room with a View, in that it's just, visuals were sensational, but actually it was a really good story for like couples, I would say, being stereotypical. there was a good love story, and I've told you this already, but it's making us go back in time and watch more like visually beautiful films, but also classics. And one that we both haven't seen is Meet Joe Black. It's another Brad Pitt one, poor me. But I think that this is going to be wonderful to watch. But if you have any recommendations of movies that are visually beautiful, but I also like films that I find inspiring, whether it's like a Nancy Meyers movie where things are like just beautifully decorated, for example, and the outfits. I really like to get more out of a film than just like a good storyline. I hate like blood and guts and gore and stuff like that, and horror movies. I never watch them. In fact, Legends of the Fall was a very fine line. There were moments in that where I was like, Let me know what classic movies. There's a few in terms of like Audrey Hepburn and things like that that I very much want to watch. That's going to be our viewing of pleasure for this evening, and I'm very excited. I just watched the trailer of it and I very much enjoyed it. Good morning, everyone. I washed my hair and it's always the way, isn't it? Tomorrow I'm getting my hair cut, and today I love my hair. It's so annoying. We watched Atonement last night, which I think is a 2000 and something film with Keira Knightley and James McAvoy and numerous other members that are usually in historical dramas, and it was brilliant. Ali didn't really love it because he took a while to get into it, and it felt very apt that we were watching it yesterday because today is obviously Remembrance Sunday. There is someone coming down the drive, so I'm going to go. Sorry, I had to move my car. Yes, so it's basically it was very apt that we were watching it because today is Remembrance Sunday. It's also Porty's birthday, but Ali found it a little bit more difficult to follow, and I loved it. It was visually absolutely stunning. Keira Knightley just looks fantastic. The acting was amazing. It's the acting that you get when people are yet to make a proper name for themselves in the acting world, and the storyline is obviously heartbreaking, but it's shot so beautifully. To begin with, you get one perspective and then you get another perspective and then you get the impact, and it's just a feast. And I would say that is why it was a BAFTA winning film, I think twice over. It's why we chose it over other films last night, because it sounded spectacular. It's just one of those films that the reason why it's so different is because it has almost taken a different approach to telling the story, but absolutely wonderful. Loved it. I am now on my way to COSYHOMEMAKING and Hicks with my British wool in tow, and I'm taking it there to hopefully have a sort of think about what we're going to do with it. I also have a fitting for a suit that I'm having made as well, so let's head to COSYHOMEMAKING and Hicks on a Sunday.
Specsavers stores across the country who check your vision and hearing are also the ones who run in the business.
I have brought in the fabric to Jeff to do his magic with, and we've decided that we're actually going to go for a coat because I have been searching high and low for a good quality wool coat and have not been able to find anything in the style that I want. So we're going to make it. That's exactly why you come to your tailor. When you can't find what it is that you want and you want something that is absolutely fitted to you, this is where I come. And I've got this wonderful, wonderful cloth that I think is going to be such a real timeless shade. And we've gone for this with the lining and then these horn buttons, which I think we're going to try and get a bigger one.
Yeah, you'll have a larger one for the front and a slightly smaller one for the coat.
I wasn't sure whether we should do like a velvet cotton. Okay.
I think you are the customer or something. No, you're not having that.
Or not even like a chocolate one?
No.
No, okay.
So beautiful, keep it as it is.
You think? Okay.
That's lovely.
But it will have like on my coat, like on here, it will have this like that.
Yes, of course. That's the felt inside.
Yeah. So you wouldn't do that in the Alcantara.
I can do it in the Alcantara.
Yeah, you could.
You could, but
Yeah.
it's how we do it, because obviously that would have to be machined. To do it properly, you've got to do it the engineered way, the factory method, and we're going to make that handmade. Let me chat that through with you at the fitting.
Okay.
And let me think what I'm going to do.
Okay.
But yeah, you can do. So when you put your collar up,
Yeah.
yeah, you can have it up. But
Yeah, so it's almost like you've got the opportunity to
Yeah.
have a really stiff collar
yeah.
and have it stand up as well as having it really
Yeah.
smartened
Yeah.
down. Oh gosh, this fabric's lovely as well. Look at this. I love this as like a an autumn men's wedding suit.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
that is so lovely.
Italian cloth from a company called Drago.
Yeah.
And it's a very fine merino wool. It's a 14.5 micron count, which is the fineness of the strands before they're woven.
Wow.
It's very soft.
It's so soft. Gosh, you'd be so comfortable. I love the way you've matched the tie to the buttonholes as well. This, if you're getting married in autumn next year or like the end of summer, this is your partner's suit, I would say, because then you could go for a really lovely, rich bridesmaid dress in this colour as well. Oh, gorgeous. They look so good. Like, look how nicely they fit at the waist.
The waist is lovely.
Like, that is...
Excuse me. I mean, look at us in our colours here.
I know, like team colours.
Howard and Hilda. You won't remember that. Ever decreasing circles. So they fit so nicely. I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to let it out on the hips.
Yeah, that's literally where it is. I can feel it going up my bum.
Yes, right.
But that looks so nice on that area there. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so there'll just be a bit more ease here across your hip. The pleats are just pulling slightly. So that's why I'm going to let it out here.
Yeah.
And then when I do that, you'll have a bit more room also to put your hands in your pockets.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, lovely. Many men can do this, Lydia, but
I
can actually chalk on your bum. Pulling out the seats, so that's what we're going to do. So that's got the pointed front waistcoat, which is traditional. Our options are straight across square. You can do a little rounded one, but I don't like rounded ones on check because it doesn't sort of hit the eye properly.
Yeah. I think the point, can we put the blazer up? I think the point, it feels more traditional, doesn't it?
And I
can always tuck it in.
No. No, you can't. No, you can't. If you have a shallow armholes that point to that point, if you keep this high, then your arm, you can move forward. When I lifted your coat up and did that, you think, oh, Jeff, that's it, I can move my arms. But that's okay, as long as you realise you can't then put baggy things underneath there, because otherwise it will just be so uncomfortable. So before ballroom dancers, you watch Strictly, they have the armholes so high, so when they dance, the jacket doesn't lift up. Just check what's going on. I'm going to take that sleeve out now.
Okay. I always make it's so interesting when you do this. And you just
so it has that little bit of padding.
Yeah.
Too high.
Nothing too high.
And you still get that lovely concave.
Yeah.
And obviously this is spare cloth here, and we're going to cut off.
Oh my goodness me, I am still trying to figure out how to do my hair, and I am now really concerned because I was planning on cutting about this much off. You know when you just feel like it's got so long, but I love the length and I love the length with the volume, but I feel like for health reasons we could take that much off. But I've taken the fabric from Andrew to be made into a coat. I'm thinking like a kind of double-breasted, quite structured on the shoulders, classic duster coat. I'm hoping to go to just above the ankle like my coat I was wearing earlier. But yes, that's what we're hoping. I can't decide whether to put like a chocolate velvet collar on it. We did talk about it. Jeff was like, no. But I was like, but maybe, no. We'll see how it sort of all comes together. I have asked for him to have it done for me before Christmas, but we shall see, fingers crossed. Despite having a fresh blowy, not that kind of blowy, get your mind out the gutter, I am going to get into the garden, have a harvest, a final harvest, and start ripping things out of the raised beds. Oh well, hello. Happy Dales. And there is only one boot for the job, and that is, oh gosh, in my plethora of boots, the Holland Cooper Wellington boot. No socks, waterproof, shearling lined, comfy cozy, perfect. Little birthday boy sitting there. These boots are honestly like the best of the best when it comes to country boots. They are so warm. If you've got someone that like loves the outdoors, they will be so grateful for these this season. Pop on, in fact, this is heater. I'm going to pop on my Hahn Cooper coat and grab some gloves and head out into the garden. However, my nasturtiums are back with a vengeance. They really didn't do well in the summer, but now they are thriving. And I've got some more kale coming in, pumpkin to pick, those to pick, and then a lot of clearing to do. Those tomatoes, my goodness me. We have also got a whole load of pak choi to harvest as well. Well, we've done some clearing and got out all of the bits that are dead. I think I'm just going to leave the nasturtiums to do their thing. I've harvested some radishes, pumpkins, and a crown prince. I might also do some pak choi, which is growing there. And now that I've got out all of the stuff that was sort of done for, I'm now raking up the leaves in the beds, so you can see what more of a raked bed looks like here. Gosh, there's so many piles. Obviously it doesn't look like I've done much because there is just leaves all over the kitchen garden. Sorry, I was zoomed in then, but yeah, so this bed has been raked. It doesn't look amazing, but it's doing its best. But all of this down here, it's just a lot of debris. This is all leaves in here, so I'm just going to go around and rake what's there. Well, we have piles and piles of rubbish. I haven't managed to rake all of the beds. Definitely haven't touched the leaves on the ground. There's another pile over there. But I've even managed to have a clean up in the greenhouse on my own. So this is something I have often struggled with, but admittedly I didn't encounter any large spiders. That might have been a different story. I did encounter one outside of the greenhouse, but I looked at it. Obviously I'm not going to touch it. Yeah, it was different and I was brave. So I don't know if this is a new thing, I have no idea, but anyway, I'm going to give a quick sweep up and probably wash down at the floor. And then I'm going to shut up shop because we are rapidly losing light. Just to let you know, there is a very big spider. And I'm still in here. I'm not going to touch it, but it is in here. He's gone now. Very proud of myself today, but the fire is now on and I've just been warming myself next to it because I got very cold. But this is my loot. So Ali said to me this morning, have you actually had any of your lemons? And because I've gone a few years, I think it was like 1 year without having any lemons on my trees, I'm now like at that point where they're almost sacred and I don't want to pick them. So I forced myself to pick these 2 juicy ones. Then this I will use in a chutney. I don't know what I'm going to use this for. I don't even know what pumpkin this is. Everything got so muddled up again when things were dying and not growing. I was just putting everything everywhere. So I wonder what type of pumpkin this is. And then I've got my crown prince, which I actually think I'm going to make myself some rice. And I'm going to roast some of this in some spices and have that for dinner. Do I have yogurt? If I've got yogurt, I'm laughing. Of course we have yogurt. Of course. I also managed to harvest some sweet pea pods. So hopefully I can get some seeds and grow some free sweet peas this year. We'll see. I didn't have much luck this year. Now, if I remember rightly, this is actually a crown prince that was grown from the seeds that I harvested last year. So I'm going to make sure to harvest the seeds of this as well, which will mean that I need to dry them out. But so lovely. There we go. And there are the seeds, and I'm going to harvest as many as possible. So, you're going to need olive oil, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, I'm going to do a fair amount of salt. We've got pepper in here. Pepper, even though I don't like pepper. And then you just add a big tablespoon, although I'm trying to make this a bit more saucy. I'm going to do 2 harissa pastes. A little bit more oil. And we're just going to see what we end up with. And then I'm going to pop in my crown prince steaks or wedges, whatever you want to call them. Let them really soak up all of the sauce and cover them in the sauce. You might get yourself some spicy fingers here, but I've done 2 big tablespoons of harissa paste and olive oil and salt to kind of my preference, pepper as well. And I am just going to take these and pop them on the baking tray, covered in the sauce. Hello, Angel Puffin! Olive oil. Yes, it's a hard life, Looney, I know. I'm going in for 30 minutes. So that we can start clearing the seeds. Well, it doesn't look very appetizing, but the pumpkin seeds are out, and over the next sort of week or so they'll dry out, and all of this like pulpy stuff will just peel off, and then I put them into bags. And it is literally that simple and very therapeutic as well. Whilst the crown prince is in the oven, I'm going to extract the seeds from these little pods and see what we've got. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Can you see? Free sweet pea seeds. I'm going to collect these up and pop them in these little Hessian bags that I got from Amazon. And those will be seeds for next year. I'm just going to start a little pile here. I just don't want to lose any. I'm opening these up and I'm getting the impression that a lot of these are moldy, which is so sad. There's a few that I'm getting out, so I'm just going to save myself one bag of seeds and see if we can get any plants from them. Probably left this a little bit late, but never mind. These look like perfect sweet pea seeds. So there's definitely some in here that I can use. Not as many as I would have hoped, but we can try. Not everything is rainbows and ponies in the garden, certainly not this year. Now, this to me is a very, very healthy, maybe a little bit bizarre, probably not enough green dinner, but my goodness me, is it good.